What's going on YouTube? Cloverbell's here back with another Series 12 team building video, and once again we're looking at another pair that is not used but can do well if given enough time and thought, and that is Palkia and Xerneas. So we've used Xerneas last time when Bing Ji Wong's team had Imprisoned Zacian and Xerneas along with the Venocole engine. That was pretty cool. We made our own Xerneas team before, and earlier in the format when we had Xerneas Groudon, and that was a type of archetype that also top cut the Hatterene series by that almost same squad was able to do it, but instead of the Venusaur, it was Kartana in its place. That was piloted by Event Horizon. Got a little inspiration for my squad, so shout out to Event Horizon for taking that archetype into a top cut in a big tournament. So, but now we're looking at Xerneas in a different kind of light, as well as Palkia. And believe it or not, I think these two can do kind of well, just because a lot of their support mons are very similar, and they can cover a little bit for what the other can't quite do. And what that means, we'll get into in a second. But first of all, like, why Xerneas? You know, there's Zacian everywhere, and you know, Zacian just clicks Behemoth Blade, one shots the Xern, and you're out of luck, right? And then for Palkia, more or less somewhat of a similar idea is the Zacian clicks Play Rough, and then the Palkia is quite sad. But what if I said you had 4 other slots on the team that can help you deal with the Xerneas and support the Palkia and or Xerneas at the same time, and at the same time also deal with the rest of the meta, right? So when you're team building, these are things you have to consider, like what are my biggest threats to my restricted duo? How do I have an answer, or how do I deal with that? And then what about the rest of the meta? How do I just not lose to everything else that's common but still have a solid consistent core? All right, and then you got to remember what I call the VGC condiments, stuff like the ketchup and mustard and onions that make your food taste better, but not all of it is necessary. Do I still have Intimidate? Do I still have Fake Out? Do I have Redirection? Do I have Screens? Do I have Disruption? Do I have Status Infliction? I don't need all of those things, but they help the team, right? And they help you get better positioning in the grand scheme of things, especially in the best of 3, right? So these are things you have to consider when you're team building. At some point we'll make like one big video of like how to team build in Series 12, right? That video is coming soon, but let's focus on Xerneas and Palkia for a second. So we've got a Dragon type, we've got a Fairy type. Normally you can have a Steel type on this team, or you can have like a Fire, Water, Grass core because you already got a Water type here. So all those things help your core a little bit here. But generally, Palkia likes Trick Room, Xerneas likes to set up Geomancy, and usually with those two, you have to have some sort of redirection, right? So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to pair our Xerneas and or Palkia with a redirection mon, all right? And it's easy to say Indeedee right here, especially with Psychic Surge. So Psychic Terrain is really nice with these two. Now, Palkia Indeedee is, a fairly common lead, and so is Palkia Xerneas, okay? And we're going to EV our Indeedee so that way we're able to take a Zacian Behemoth Blade. Alright, so this is what I mean. They both share similar mons, and what's also on these Palkia teams along with Xerneas teams is you need an Intimidator for that for that Zacian, and you need some Fake Out pressure. I can only think of one mon that can do that right now, and that is Incineroar, right? So any Palkia team usually has an Incineroar, any Xerneas team usually has an Incineroar. You could lead Xerneas Incineroar, Fake Out one slot, click Geomancy on the other one. It's pretty good against like Regieleki teams, that just want to click Electro Web, but if you can Fake It Out or force it to protect, then you can safely set up that Geomancy, or you can do like Palkia Incin if they want to be aggressive, and then you can just Fake Out one slot, set up your Trick Room in the other slot. But yeah, this is a solid 4. Now from here, again, I need a little bit more than just these 4. So I got to think about Kyogre, I got to think about Sun, I got to think about Calyrex Shadow, the other Calyrex, and maybe even the opposing Palkia to a degree, and some other of the lesser known archetypes, but still pretty strong, like something like Solgaleo. That's still pretty good. It's still pretty strong right now. So where do I go from here? So I got Intimidate, I got Fake Out, I got a Redirection Mon. I'm going to have a little bit of speed control with the Palkia. I think we're going to need another strong physical hitter, because right now, Xerneas and Palkia, these are two special hitters, right? Well, we need at least one strong physical hitter, like a good Dynamax option. And I think I like Landorus here. So Landorus with another Intimidate is really, really nice. And then, you know, with Instant, you can Parting Shot out of, you know, ground moves. You can pivot right into Landorus, you know, bait those ground moves into your Landorus. Doesn't do any damage. And really good into the Sun matchup, of course. You know, you have that Rock move against the Zard. You have Intimidate against the Groudon and the Zacian. You have a ground move against the Zacian. Okay, you're good against Regieleki because, you know, Regieleki wants to come into this matchup to slow down the Xern and the Palkia. But if you have that Landorus, Regieleki can't really, or, well, it still can, but, you know, it's limited a little bit because you have this ground typing here. So, again, relatively nice here. And then for my last slot here, you know, I kind of want something to abuse to trick him a little bit. And I noticed that I have, you know, I have a Water type, I have a Fire type, I need a Grass type, so I can round out my Fire, Water, Grass core and still at the same time maybe abuse the Trick Room. There's a couple of things you can do here. You can do like Ferrothorn here. I think Ferrothorn is pretty solid here. So you get a Dragon, a Fairy, and a Steel type, and you get a Fire type, a Grass type, and a Water type. So you got all your fundamental cores put together. And then what's cool about the Ferrothorn is it matches up really well into the opposing Palkia Calyrex Ice Rider matchup. So you can go the Ferrothorn route, or you can also go this route with the Amoongus. I think Amoongus is still fine. Okay, you still get that Fire, Water, Grass core. You lose the Steel typing, but that's okay. So in exchange, you get Spore. Okay, and now you can start putting things to sleep. And then your Palkia, your Landorus, or your Xerneas can, you know, just click whatever they want and, you know, force your opponent into a pretty tight corner, I would say. So this is a solid 6. If you like the Ferrothorn, we'll also put that kind of paste as well at the end of the video. But I generally like this 6 because, you know, you get double redirection with Palkia, which, you know, Palkia teams generally like. And then Xerneas also can appreciate double redirection with an Intimidate Mon. You know, sometimes Xerneas is just not bringable into a matchup. So then you can just really, you know, rely on Palkia, Landorus with one of your redirections and maybe Incineroar, and then those 4 can help you carry a game if Xerneas is not bringable. But, you know, if there's like no Zacian, you know, I like Xern a lot. Even if there is a Zacian, you have the tools to be able to play around it, right? You got your Intimidators, you got your redirection stuff, you got Fake Out. So Xern's not all that bad on this kind of team, and it's an interesting one, right? With this 6, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Now, I'll show you the EVs, the items, and the movesets, which is the next part of our video. And again, if you are interested in team building with me, if you're trying to play in a tournament coming up, if you're trying to play in a regional, again, check out our membership system to the channel. If you apply for a tier 3 membership for the YouTube channel, you can, you know, message me on Discord, and then we'll start, you know, planning out your squads and optimizing them for your upcoming tournament in a Discord call one-on-one. We'll test it out a little bit, but, you know, I'll show you the nuances of team building. All right, stuff you don't see in my videos, I'll show them privately one-on-one. But anyway, that's for another day. Let's just continue on with our video here. So we got Xerneas, we got Palkia. Let's just click the rest of the GIFs. We've got Indeedee, Incineroar, Amoongus, and a Landorus. This is our 6. So now let's go ahead and finish off the team. Okay, so with Xerneas, again, we're just going to keep it relatively standard here with the Power Up item. I think, of course, you know, you're going to be going for Geomancy. So we'll go with Dazzling Gleam. We'll go with Geomancy, of course. Moonblast and Protect in our final slot. We'll do the EVs at the end, but, you know, I just want to show off the movesets here. I just got a message here. Just give me a second here. All right, and then for the Palkia, you know, I think Life Orb is relatively strong. And then Telepathy, just because to have a little bit of synergy with the Landorus, you know, because, you know, if you want to Earthquake next to Palkia, that's also very possible, and you might have to do it depending on the circumstance. I've done it a few times. Spatial Rend for sure. Hydro Pump, okay. Trick Room is a great option here. Now, this last move normally would be something like Earth Power. However, if you look at what our makeup is, something like Ferrothorn could give this team a little bit of trouble, especially in like Trick Room, which we don't want to set for it. So what I'm thinking here is we put our Flamethrower on our Palkia. So this is one of our Clover techs that we're going to have on the squad. I think Flamethrower makes a lot of sense. And it's still pretty good against Zacian as well, right? And now we have at least something to click against Ferrothorn if teams are deciding to bring it more and more. And, you know, given the current state of the meta, Venus are starting to come up a little bit more again. And I think having Flamethrower as an option against it is quite solid. So, moving on, the Indeedee, Psychic Seeds is what we want here. You know, get that extra special defense going. Follow Me is good. Helping Hand and Protect, these are great moves, especially with Xerneas and Palkia. Just being able to like Dynamax these things, or at least Palkia, and then Xerneas, you don't even have to Dynamax. Just going for that Helping Hand with the Geomancy boosted Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam, or Helping Hand with like Max Geyser or Max Flare or Max Wormwind. Really, really strong. Now here in this move, you can have a few options here. You can do Expanding Force as normal. You know, just get a Psychic Terrain boosted Expanding Force. I also think Mystical Fire is quite nice. You know, just, you know, something to click against maybe Calyrex Shadow, maybe Dialga, maybe Charizard. You know, these are great moves. These are great Pokemon to click Mystical Fire on. You know, so I'll leave it up to you, the viewer. But, you know, for now, we're just going to go for Expanding Force. The other thing you can do and consider is if you don't run the Grass move on the Amoongus, I saw this last time when I was doing a video, this thing gets Energy Ball. So you can use Energy Ball on the Indeedee just for those annoying Gastrodons that are still running around, because, you know, teams might be incentivized to bring Gastrodon against your Palkia, and you need something like a Grass move to click on it, and, you know, Energy Ball is kind of nice. But if you just run your Grass move on your Amoongus, then you're fine. You don't need Energy Ball on your Indeedee. Okay, and then from here, the Incineroar, you can have Shuka Berry on it. I think Shuka is quite nice, just because, you know, sometimes you want to pivot into Groudons for those Precipice Blades or Max Quakes. Flare Blitz is a good move. Fake Out, of course, Parting Shot, and Throat Chop, right? And, you know, the argument for Throat Chop over Darkest Lariat is because, remember, with Throat Chop, you stop sound-based moves, so you can stop an opposing Incineroar for going for their own Parting Shot. Yes, Parting Shot is a sound-based move. I get that all the time. But again, I'm making it clear with every video that I have, Parting Shot is a sound-based move, and you can click Throat Chop not only to stop them from cycling, but also have a dark move against Calyrex Shadow Rider. Okay, Landorus here, so again, because we have double redirection, I think it's very easy to have Swords Dance on this, just to help you set it up. Now, the item here, I believe there's two ideal items that you can have on the Landorus. One of them is the Lumberry. This is just so that, you know, if you're playing against Calyrex Shadow Rider or something that has Will-O-Wisp, this way you can avoid it. Or if you're going up against Venusaur, or maybe even Amoongus in Trick Room, if they want to click Spore in this Landorus slot, you can at least buy yourself one turn with the Lumberry. If you think you're fine and you can position yourself where you don't get fallen asleep or burned, then I think the White Herb is good. This way you stop an opposing Incineroar from cycling against you, maybe even opposing Landorus, and then just being able to go for Swords Dance, you know, at neutral, not -1, is very, very strong. So I think both of these two items make sense. But for now, we'll just keep the Lumberry on it because that's what I had originally on it when I was testing the team. Amoongus, okay, this is a very easy one. This is just going to be our Focus Sash, not Banned. And then here, Rage Powder, Spore, and Protect ideally would be cool. Now here in this attacking move slot, you can have a few moves. I think, you know, Pollen Puff is totally fine, but because we're Telepathy Palkia, maybe Pollen Puff may not be the best idea, but you can always heal your Xerneas and your Landorus for that matter, and maybe you can just change Palkia to, you know, Pressure. You can't Earthquake next to it, but, you know, that's okay. So you can do that. You can do Seed Bomb. This is your grass coverage against Gastrodon. Now you might consider Energy Ball. The only thing that you have to worry or consider is sometimes Gastrodons may Dynamax, and they may get those max Quake boosts, and then your Energy Ball is not as effective, you know. But if you prefer the physical route, you know, this way, even if they get those Quake boosts, the Seed Bomb can still like destroy it. So that's another thing. Another cool move that I'm starting to see now on the Amoongus is Foul Play. This is actually kind of funny because, you know, you have a mushroom clicking Foul Play against an opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider. I think that's great. I think it's a totally fine tech. Another one that I've seen is Hex, right? Because the power doubles if you have a status ailment. So, you know, if you just spore something, then you click Hex, it does double the damage, which I think is kind of funny. So that's another nice tech to have. You know, so I'm just giving you guys options as to what to click. You know, it's, remember, you know, when you play a best of 3, you can't just always go completely standard stuff. Like 90% of your team can be standard, but then the other 10%, you need like a couple of hidden techs here and there that, you know, if you reveal it in a final game 3, it can just win you the round and help you advance, right? So I gave you a few cool moves to have on the Amoongus. I'll leave it up to you. For now, we're just going to go Seed Bomb, just so, again, we have that grass move because we don't have it on the Indeedee. But again, it's all relatively nice to have in terms of those options. So we've got our moves, we got our items, and now this is where we do the EVs. I always like to do it in this order. You do your moves first, you do your item, and then you do the EVs, because often your items and some setup moves will often dictate your EVs, right? So you can't do your EVs if you don't have those things, right? So let's just go ahead and start doing those EVs. Okay, so let's take a look at Xerneas and figure out what we want to EV. So there's a couple of things you want to do when you're trying to EV your mons, and one thing that you should always be doing first is trying to EV for your speed tier, then your attacking stat or special attacking stat, and then whatever you have left over goes into your bulk, and maybe you might adjust those EVs from there just in case you want to survive something. So when I look at Xerneas, the main thing I want to think about is I want enough bulk to survive a Zacian Behemoth Blade. And I've done this kind of spread before, but I'm showing you, I'm going to show a different one that's a little bit more optimized than what we did in the beginning of the format. But I want to live Zacian Behemoth Blade after an Intimidate, all right, and I still want to outspeed Regieleki after Geomancy. So I have decided my speed tier, okay? So how do I do that? Well, I know that Regieleki hits 276 speed, so if I go modest, right, and if I do my math here, right, if I do 276, which is a Lecky speed at max, divided by 2, that is 138, okay? So if I want to outspeed Regieleki after my Geomancy, okay, which gives me a +2 speed, I need to hit 139, okay, which is also the kind of speed that Kyogres like to hit in Tailwind, okay? If you look at Pikalytics, all those Kyogre speeds with their Tailwind buddies, they just want to outspeed Regieleki. So if I do it like this, okay, I outspeed Regieleki. But the thing is, other mons like Kyogre are going to be going for this too. So we're going to use a brain cell here and say we'll outspeed the Speed Creeper, and we'll go to 140. All right, so this way we outspeed those modest Kyogres that want to outspeed Regieleki in their Tailwind shenanigans, okay? So we've got our speed tier. Now for our attacking stat, you know, with Xern, we don't really need that much attack because we're going for like Geomancy, which is +2. And I know Dynamax kind of ruined it a little bit, but we don't really need Dynamax for Xern. You know, we just need to deal a lot of damage, and then, you know, these homeboys, Palkia and Landorus, can just clean up from the back. So all we really need is maybe just this much. Okay, and actually when I was doing my EVs, I actually did the special attack stat last because I was working on a bulk spread to survive Zacian Behemoth Blade. But again, remember with Geomancy, you're also getting +2 in the special defense department. So you want to be able to at least get a nice even number here with the special defense. And we don't really need that much because, again, we're going to be +2. All right, so we'll be very bulky in that regard. But now we have 320 EVs to play with in terms of coming up with a balance spread with the attack, with the HP and the defense, so that way I survive that Zacian Behemoth Blade. And that spread comes out to something like this, where I have 172 points in HP, and then from here 148 in defense, okay? And I'll show you how exactly I came up with that spread when I show you in the Pokemon damage calculator. But this is the spread that helps you survive Zacian Behemoth Blade. It's optimized for Power Herb, where you get nice even numbers in your special attack and your special defense, and then even your speed is pretty good in terms of outspeeding Regieleki / Kyogre Tailwind speed creepers. So it's a very solid Xerneas spread. I like it a lot. Okay, now for Palkia, same idea. I want to survive that play rough after Intimidate and still deal a good amount of damage, but I am going to be running Trick Room on this Palkia, so I don't really need that much speed. I need a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'll go modest here, and just 1 point in speed. You know, really what this does is I can outspeed other Palkias that don't run any speed, and at the same time with Landorus Airstream I can outspeed an opposing Thundurus, right? So that's also kind of convenient. All right, but from here we'll go to the second EV bump in our modest nature, and again I don't have to explain fully what EV bumps are. We have a whole video dedicated to explaining what EV bumps are, so if you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, if you don't know what EV bumps are, check out that video. It explains what EV bumps are, or what I like to call EV benchmarks, right? But again, with every benchmark it's 80 EVs invested, and the first benchmark is at 76 EVs, all right, because you go from 196 to 198 special attack, and then another 80 EVs will get you to that second benchmark, so then you'll go to 156 in the special attack you know, bar, that EV investment here. And then from here, just 1 point in the special defense. I don't need a whole lot of special defense. I'm very bulky here. I'd rather just invest in my HP and defense so that I survive that Zacian play rough here, and still optimizing for my Life Orb chip. I'm gonna go to 188 here, which gets me to 189, because remember, what does Life Orb do? It lets you lose 1/10 of your HP after every attack. So if I break the threshold like this to 190, that's not good, because 190 divided by 10 is 19, so you're taking 19 points of HP per turn. Okay, why would I do that? So if I undercut it to 189, now I'm taking 18.9 points of damage, which rounds down to 18 because that's the way Pokemon is played. So now we're only taking 18 points of damage per turn, and you know, we optimize the Life Orb that way. So always end in a 9 if you have a Life Orb item. There's a few exceptions to that, but Palkia, because we're generally bulky, we follow this rule, and then the rest just goes into defense, and this bulk also lets us live that Zacian play rough, right? Jolly Zacian, I should say. Alright, Indeedee, same idea. Live that Zacian Behemoth Blade. You're going to go bold Indeedee here, and we'll just have 1 point in speed just so that we outspeed other Indeedees. A point in special attack. We don't really need attack on our Indeedee. Because we're Psychic Seeds, we can get a couple points in the special defense part. Alright, I think this is relatively solid. Here's the third bump in the defense nature, and the rest just gets dumped into HP. I think it's very, very solid. You can even do this where like you optimize for weather damage, which is 175 HP, and then from here you can just add this last point of 8 EVs into your defense, and now you've re-optimized your Indeedee spread against not only Zacian Behemoth Blades, you're faster than other Indeedees with note speed, and you've optimized your HP for weather chip from, you know, max hail or max sand, max rockfall, which is sand chip. All right, so there's that. Now we go into our Incineroar here. So very standard Incineroar spread is just to go careful nature, and then, you know, just be relatively bulky overall. You know, you don't really need attack. Of course, you just have 1 point in the attack stat, and you can just go first bump in the special defense, where you see your stat go up by 2. You go from 130 to 132. This is a benchmark. We're gonna bring back the faster Incineroar spread here. I think it's quite useful. So we're gonna go back to our 116 spread, 95 speed Incineroar. Yeah, so this way in Trick Room our parting shot goes last, which is very beneficial. And if they're trying to go for pivoting, we have a faster Throat Chop, which stops other Incineroars from pivoting. We have a faster Fake Out, which is also very useful. And then from here, we just have a good amount of defense and almost full bulk in HP. We can live those Zacian Sacred Swords or close combats once you intimidate it. All right, Landorus, honestly, same kind of idea. We can just go jolly. Just max speed Landorus is pretty good. A little bit of HP, you know, for that hailstorm damage that might come into effect, and then just a couple points in our bulk, and then the rest just get dumped to attack, right? Because you're clicking Swords Dance sometimes, right? So you don't really need max attack, but if you want, if it really means that much to you, you can just do this, like if you don't care. All right, but I just want a little bit of bulk. This will help against those Zacian Behemoth Blades in the grand scheme of things. All right, so especially after you intimidate it once. And then the Amoongus, the same Amoongus spread that we've been using since the series started. I just like to optimize for regenerator recovery and then just dump the rest into its bulk. That's really all you want your Amoongus to do, just be a bulky mushroom, a bulky shroom, as we like to say. So 236 HP investment is what we want. 219, right? Because remember, regenerator, you regenerate 1/3 of your max HP. If you go to 220 or 218, you get a decimal value, which rounds it down. So that that means you're kind of wasting HP EVs that way. If you go to 219, it's pretty good. Relaxed nature, just to be able to take those Behemoth Blades and Incineroar Flare Blitz a little bit better. Second EV bump here with 156 nature, and then the rest just gets dumped into special defense. Very, very nice. Very nice bulky mushroom that we have here. Very standard, something that we've done a whole lot of. So let's just go ahead and make this paste here. So yeah, I mean, this 6, when you look at it, yeah, you can definitely win a lot of games on ladder. Even if you can't bring the Xerneas, right? Like I said, even if you can't bring Xern, the core of Palkia, Landorus, Incineroar plus one of the Intimidators, one of the Redirectors will be enough where you can take a lot of games. All right, so definitely, give this one a shot. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of damage calcs just to show you how I do the EVs again, because I think it's very helpful for the beginners just to understand how you incorporate calcs into your EV spreads, right? And this is something that we do a lot of in the one-on-one coaching sessions that we have on the channel, but I'm going to show you a couple things with the damage calcs, and then maybe 1 or 2 test battles just to show you a couple of the modes of the team, and then we'll wrap it up with a final conclusion. All right, so let's go to the damage calculator. Okay, so right now we have Xerneas and Zacian next to each other, right? So I'm going to show you how we click the arrows to show the EV spreads from scratch. So right now you can see Zacian Behemoth Blade one-shots my Xerneas. All right, we're sad. Okay, but if we intimidate it, we're here. Okay, so I have to lower this where I can get this to 99%, or this way, or at least to 6.3% OCO chance. So this way I can pretty much guarantee that I live the Behemoth Blade after the Intimidate. Alright, but again, before we do any damage calcs, we have to make sure we invested the EVs into our speed tier first. Alright, speed tier always matters first when you're trying to do your EVs. Alright, so from here, let's again put our EV spread here, 164 investment. This is for outspeeding, Regieleki after we click Geomancy. We have optimize even number for special defense, okay, and then here for the special attacking stat. Now, what we do here is I want to invest HP EVs where at least I have weather optimized, right? So I just keep going up like this, right, until I hit my benchmark, 172, right? So 223 is a good number, right? Because divided by 16, what is 223 divided by 16 equal? We got our calculator here. All right, 13.9. So I'm only taking 13 damage of hail and sand chip per turn. All right, and you can see we're getting closer to living this Behemoth Blade. Okay, so now from here, I just have to start investing in my defense EVs. Okay, so look at this. All right, if I keep going up. All right, until I can get it to that magic number. All right, so right here, I can leave it like this, right? 6.3% chance. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, but if I go here now, one more set of EV investment, now I have that 99% on, in terms of living that Behemoth Blade. So at the very least, even if he high rolls, I live at 1 HP. And then I can get off my Geomancy and then just, click +2 Moonblasters or +2 Dazzling Gleams, okay? So this is how you do the spread. Now, if I keep playing around with the numbers a little bit, you can see that You know, the spreads they change a little bit. It depends on like what you want to do, but generally this is how you do it. You up the HPs and the defenses until like you get a certain, you know, balance calc that lets you live a certain attack from a certain mon. That's how you do it. Okay, but of course I was aiming for weather optimization, and then from here I had just enough leftover bulk where I can live that Behemoth Blade. So that's how you do it. All right, so now let's look at some other mon. So here's the Indeedee, right? So this is our bold Indeedee spread, and again, so unlike the 99%, we were still, you know, content with this 6.3% chance to OHKO. You know, sometimes you just gotta let things push to shove. It's fine. It's not a big deal. If you really want, you can just take a couple points away from the special defense, like this, and then just put it into like HP or defense, and it's totally fine, and you get that 99 factor that you've always wanted. Okay, so that's still fine, but I left it at 236. It's still okay. I don't mind. All right, so here's the Palkia spread that we have. So again, with Zacian Behemoth Blade being able to, play rough KOing our Palkia. If we get the Intimidate off, we can live one play rough, and we can get up that Trick Room and then start abusing it. But again, just the same idea. We've got our speed tier, which is just 4 points. It's very easy. We've done the attacking stat, you know, 156, and then the rest you just either optimize for Life Orb, and then the rest you just dump into defense, right? So if I were to take away all of this, you know, just to show you a little bit. So again, I want to get to that 9 mark, right? So right here. So like if I go 179, okay? So what I can also do is something like this, where I can let me just readjust my EV spread here. Like let's say I went to 108, 179. Okay, I still have 80 EVs to play with, right? So from here, I can see that the player up still one-shots me. Now what I can do is just, you know, see that, oh, okay, I can still put like a bunch of EVs in defense, but this is like not completely optimal. Like let's see with this 108 and 236 defense, right? I can do this. So let's go all the way until we reach 236. But at the very once you reach this point, where is it? Okay, so right here. So 108 and 236. Okay, I've got that. So I can do this too. This is totally fine. If you want all this defense bulk, all right, there's nothing wrong with this. And then this is also a fine EV spread. But I kind of want a little bit more in the HP mark, just so that, you know, if I'm taking special attacks, I can take them a little bit better because I have 10 more HP to work with. So at the very least, I just do this. All right, and then just re-add it back into the HP mark, and it's still the same thing. Okay, so if you see the difference there, but you know, it still works out. So again, you still live the Zacian Behemoth Blade, and that's really what I wanted to show you. Okay, let's just take a look at a couple of practice games just to see how the team plays out. So he also has like redirection with Xerneas, and he has Calyrex Shadow Ice Rider with Amoongus. So this is what I mean. So like Xerneas and Calyrex Ice Rider, they share the same support with Amoongus with redirection, right? So that's kind of cool. He has the Orang Guru because, you know, he wants to do stuff with Geomancy, and he also wants to do stuff with, you know, Glacial Lance. And then the Raichu, I'm not really sure why it's there. I can understand the Gashadon, but honestly, you know, just in case he leads the Amoongus and the Calyrex, I'm just going to lead our double Intimidators here just to really neutralize it. Okay, so we're going to go with Incin and Lando here. Potentially, you know, get up a Fake Out and a Swords Dance. He goes with Raichu Gashadon, so this is an interesting kind of passive lead here. I wonder what he's trying to do here. I don't know if the Raichu actually stays in here, because it would just die to Landorus, but I'm afraid of the Gashadon clicking, you know, like Max Ice, which I don't want it to do. It could even Dynamax, you know, just to avoid Fake Out and click Hailstorm into my Landorus, which may not be bad because then I can just play for, you know, a Palkia or a Xerneas endgame, which is what I brought into this. I did not bring the Palkia, I brought the Xerneas because, you know, Gashadon. So I go into Xern here. He does Dynamax the Gashadon after all. He goes for Fake Out, which we calmly adjust to. We go for a Parting Shot, so we bring this Gashadon to -1, and fortunately he did not go for the Ice move. He went for the Incineroar kill. So now what we can do is just set up the Geomancy. This Nuzzle doesn't matter. Amoongus is the slowest thing anyway. I don't even care if Amoongus gets parried. Not a big threat. Now what I can do is I can Dynamax the Xerneas and stop him from nuzzling things, which I can easily do right now. I could have protected the Amoongus. I did not protect the Amoongus, but I did Starfall the Gastrodon. See how bulky it is? Even after that special defense boost, it still lives +2 Xern. But this is still fine because his Dynamax is gone. We still have ours. We have a Landorus. Again, I don't want to get Ice Beamed, so I'm still going to be pressuring this Gastrodon here. The Raichu's not going to do anything, right? So I'm just going to go for Swords Dance. He went for Nuzzle in the Fairy Terrain, which is why I set it up. The Oranguru is not going to be doing anything. Again, we just pressure this with the Starfall. And he goes for Volt Switch. We don't even get to see what attack I clicked because he just forfeited. So, you know, you see how we repivoted our position where we got our Xerneas in a much more favorable spot. I think that's what you have to do when you play this team. You know, sometimes you can't just lead Xern and click Follow Me or click Rage Powder and click, you know, Geomancy. You know, opponents are going to be prepared for that, especially better ones. So just keep that in mind and, you know, you'll be okay with the squad. So let's look at one more. Okay, Zacian Kyogre. So again, the Zacian pressures the Xerneas, but the Palkia can do relatively well into the Kyogre because we can resist a lot of what it can do, and we do have a fire move on our Palkia for that Amoongus if we need to, and we also have a fire move against that Zacian. So again, as long as we have redirection to support the Palkia and Xerneas, we should be okay. I'm not too concerned about this kind of generic makeup that he has here. So he goes with Amoongus Grimmsnarl. That is very, very passive. We go with Indeedee Palkia. Now, I can't click Trick Room here because he has the Amoongus. Otherwise, he's just going to spore everything and I go to sleep. So I wanted to test something and see if a combo with Expanding Force and Flamethrower would kill. That's good damage from Flamethrower, and Expanding Force does a lot. And now, the only issue is that he did click Light Screen, which is very smart of him. I was wondering maybe if Helping Hand Max Slayer would have killed that Amoongus. I'll have to check that calculator. But the Amoongus is almost dead, but he does get the Spore off. But that's okay, because now the Amoongus is almost one more hit from dying. I repivot the Incin because I don't want to take Spirit Break from the Grimmsnarl into my Palkia that's already asleep. That would have been a very bad spot, so I just got in the Incin. Now we'll go into Xern. I don't think he clicked Spirit Break again over there. So I'm just going to, once again, click Expanding Force. The Grimmsnarl can just do whatever it wants here. It doesn't really matter. Here comes the Zacian. I know what's coming. He maxes the Ogre, which I think is not smart. I feel like he was better off clicking the Water Spout. But I did go for the Geomancy. Now we have a good Geo setup here. I maxed the Xern anyway because I know I can take a Behemoth Blade. There's the Zacian. It gets pressured now. Now he kills the Indeedee, right? Now look at this. Okay, Geyser doesn't do a whole lot. So now, he does have Zacian in front of my Xerneas, but the problem that he has is my Xern is faster. And you see, I chipped the Zacian for more than half. So if he leaves the Zacian out here right now, he dies. So I know he has to switch this Zacian. And I'm going to leave my Palkia in to take a turn of sleep because I know I can pressure the Zacian. This Kyogre doesn't do a whole lot to Palkia or Xerneas. So I'm buying my time for the sleep on the Palkia by pressuring the Zacian because I know I'm faster than it. So he protects, which is good because now I burn a turn of sleep, and I'm trying to position myself in the end game where maybe I can go for a Trick Room and let Palkia finish this game along with the Incineroar. And now he switches into the Grimmsnarl, right? So once again, he gives me the Grimmsnarl, doesn't do anything, just dies to Max Geyser. I'm sorry, Max Starfall. He can't freeze me because we have Misty Terrain, so it doesn't do a whole lot here. He has the Amoongus again, which can't click Spore. He can't click Thunder. He crits my Palkia, which is interesting. We finally get the Wake Up. We click the Flamethrower. We kill the Amoongus. Okay, so now we're in a decent spot here. Here's the Zacian, but I want to go into Incin just to intimidate this and get Fake Out next turn and just play it a little bit safe. I don't care if he kills the Incineroar with a water move, but he instead goes for Ice Beam trying to go for the Palkia. And now we just win. We pressure with Fake Out. We kill the Ogre with the Moonblast. All right, and now we force the 3-on-1 on the Zacian, and now he loses. So that's what I mean. If you can pressure the Zacian and get in a good position where it just can't get an attack off without dying, you can win the game. That's what I mean by trying to use this kind of team. All right, so now let's just go ahead and wrap things up with the Pokepaste one last time. So yeah, this is a relatively cool kind of duo with Xerneas and Palkia. We've got pretty good options for speed control, you know, with Trick Room, and of course we have the Geomancy stuff. We have double redirection, double intimidate, we have fake out pressure, we have all those VGC condiments that we like to say that we have on the team. Again, Landorus can be a good Dynamax option, especially in that Sun game. You know, in the Kyogre games, Palkia is pretty good. So is Xern. It depends on, you know, what else they have. But generally, you know, you have a couple of max options. You have 3 good max options here. You have either Xerneas, Palkia, and Landorus, and none of them have to necessarily max, okay, which is what I like most about this team. You know, there's not one mon here where you say like, oh, I have to max this. All right, maybe Palkia fits that criteria a little bit more than the Xern and Landorus, but like, you know, generally, you know, Xerneas, you don't have to max it. You can if you want to, but it puts on enough pressure after Geomancy with the spread damage that you don't really have to max it. You can max the Landorus or Palkia. But yeah, generally it's a pretty solid duo. I think I'll make this rental code for the month of May. Let me know if you're interested in this kind of rental. And again, make sure to check out our coaching for the channel. It's a tier 3 sub. If you click the join button, you know, just pay the $9.99 for tier 3. And then message me on Discord saying, hey, I'm interested in building so-and-so. You know, we'll hash out the EVs, we'll build it from scratch. I'll show you how to do some damage calcs and whatever, and just the nuances of VGC in general. All right, so consider that, take a look at it. But until next time, guys, we'll be back with another series 12 video. Peace out.